Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are, friends all over the world. This is another episode of Justice Reflections. There's been a little bit of short time. Pardon me for that, but we are back again. Today's Justice Reflection is on leadership. I mean, great leaders. Because there's leadership all over the whole place, but not most of them are not worth talking about. A leader, in the true perspective, is one who has a vision of how things can be better where he is situated or she is situated, and then has that unique ability to mobilize people and rally around to get solutions to those problems. And he or she inspires confidence in the followers. They are passionate about the cause for which he stands or she stands for. The great leader is able to achieve this because he or she is people centered. People is at the center of his or her thoughts. And that is why they're able to turn situations around. Some leaders, and many of them, money, what they can get is at the center of their thoughts, their campaigns. The grabbing of resources is the center. They may tell you they are people centered, but when you go through their office, to go through the span of their office, you will soon discover that they are not people focused. Some don't even campaign. So who are these great leaders? Oh, they can be anywhere. They can be the father in the home. They can be the priest or pastor in the church. They can be an imam in the mosque. They can be a community level the shire or local government chairperson. It could be state governor or premier. It could be the president or prime minister of a nation. They live lives of continuous sacrifice, propelled by love for the people. They hate injustice and practice equity. More characteristics of this kind of great leader is that the word impossible seems to be a strange word to them because nothing stops them from doing what they want to do for their people. And if you see what they must go through to achieve the task they are committed to, you will be surprised. A lot of difficulties on their way, even in their office, in their cabinet, the people that surround them. Antagonism from other nations or other groups, But they achieve much because they are focused, they are people-centered. That is what characterizes them. People focus. They think of where their people are going to sleep, how they are going to be educated, what to make their life better, how are they going to commute from one place to the other, how is their education, how is health, how are the roads, how are the infrastructures. That is their primary concern. And they will have oppositions, but they will always succeed because they are people focused. They hardly celebrate themselves or throw parties for themselves or pump themselves up. But they are usually celebrated by many people, even long after their departure from the scene. Mere longevity, living long and living in affluence and riches, happen not to be their primary concern or their focus. Their meat, that is their focus to do the will of God, who sent them at that particular timing to complete the purpose of promoting the welfare of the people they aspire to lead or the people they are leading. Let's look at some examples of some of these great leaders in history. Mahatma Gandhi. Gandhi was an Indian lawyer who led his country to freedom from British colonialism in 1947. Indians will forever be grateful to that man. The world will forever be grateful to that man. For he used his intellect and his heart for his people. And he is famous for his philosophy of nonviolence as a means of advancing his cause. But yet, he was assassinated at 79 years. Coming down to Africa, oh yes, the first person you want to talk about is Nelson Mandela. Madiba, as he was usually called, it was a living icon of justice, peace, and equality, not only in South Africa, but all throughout the world. He was jailed for 27 years, but thank God he had the opportunity and came out to govern his people. And he did a good job. We thank him for the endurance of the 27 years in jail and for not losing focus and not compromising. Winston Churchill successfully led Britain through World War II, famous for his inspiring speeches. This great man refused to give in when the war was toughest for Britain. He refused to give in, even when things were going badly. And you see what Britain is today. He was age 91. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. That is another great man. He was a great man, a great leader of his people, an American Baptist minister, an activist who fought for human rights in the United States of America, played a very big role in ending the segregation of the African Americans in the US. Like I said, age, longevity wasn't his focus. He was assassinated in 1965 at the age of 38 years. The list goes on. Abraham Lincoln, an American lawyer and great administrator, this president signed the Emancipation Proclamation, bringing a long overdue slavery in the United States to an end. That practice that enslaved the continent of Africa. He, as president, knew how people were brutally used and decided to do something about it. He will be remembered for his great speech. All men are created equal. But you know what? When you're about doing some great things that great leaders do, your life might be on the line. He was assassinated in 1865. How about Mother Teresa? Oh, helping the poorest of the poor was her sing song. That was the focus, the poorest of the poor. Typical of example of someone who focuses on bringing people out of the low estate they are into something better. If you are listening and you are interested in leadership, that is what great leaders do. She died 35 years ago at the age of 87. To this, let me add another one in Africa, and that is Chief Obafemi Awolowo, the leader of the Yorubas, responsible for much of the progressive social legislation that has made Nigeria's modern nation. When you talk of Chief Obafemi Awolowo, you are talking about free education in the then southwestern Nigeria. You're talking about free health service. You are talking about the first radio station in Africa. You're talking about Cocoa House. You're talking of many developments, first of its kind, first in Africa. That great man had people at the focus of his ideology. If you say you're a leader, or aspire to be one, or you are even one of the contestants for the highest office of presidency in Nigeria right now, are people's welfare and progress the center of your thoughts and practices? Have you been found to be so? Was your pedigree included? If so, which people? Are you divisive? Are you fighting for your own segment? Time will tell. Leaders are bold and they are not willing compromisers of their people's destiny. Some governors, some people watch their own people being killed, being dispossessed of their belongings, their farmlands. They decided to look away. Is that leadership? Only time will tell. What legacy you're going to be leaving behind? In their process of leadership, some can be incarcerated, like we have learned. Some can be killed. And almost all great leaders must encounter and overcome great difficulties at personal cost. That's what it is. Leadership is service to mankind. It's not a means of aggrandizement. You are there at a time like this for those who still have the opportunity to do something. And if you don't do it, God will send somebody else to deliver his people. The greatest example of all leaders, of course, is Jesus Christ our Lord. It's the greatest example of leadership. He laid down his life willingly. Nobody forcefully killed him. No, he willingly laid his life and rose up again, overcame death. Nobody else has ever overcome death out of the greatest leaders who have said. May God prepare you for leadership. And may he grant you the opportunity to turn situations around for the betterment of the people around you where you are located. The world needs great leaders in a time like this. Now that you know who great leaders are, will you be one? That is the question. Thank you for listening. Drop your comments. And until we bring another episode, stay blessed. Keep going. And maybe one day, the Lord will open your eyes to see how you can help the situation around you. Thank you for listening.